Welcome everyone to another episode of our podcast where we try to bring narrative from the other side of the table. I am Kia Bhargavi, Head Photography Club of the Tamil Institute of Higher Education and Research, and on today's episode we welcome you all with our special guest Dr. Sandeep Shrivastava sir. He is the greatest academician and surgeon of all times, and to list some of his achievements, he has bagged Lifetime Achievement Award twice to many of the best. And the thought that we walk the same hall as him is truly amazing at the same time. While the outside world knows him as a skilled surgeon and a researcher, we, the students of JNMC, have known him as our dean and a mentor. As modestly as I could try to introduce you, sir, I would like you to address to our audience who is here to know you more than a professor and a doctor.
Thank you so much, Kia. Uh, and thanks a lot, the Photographic Club of members of all the Photographic Club of DMHER. Namaskar, and it's a great pleasure to be amongst you all today. I think so, like here, you have heard your introduction part by saying that all this stuff. You have been too kind to me. When you are asking me to introduce myself, it's like it's slightly tough for me. But yes, I have, as you know, Sandeep Shrivastava, did my graduation from GR Medical College, Gwalior in 1985. So I passed out in 1990 and did my post-graduation from the same place. And did my post-graduation in orthopedic surgery. Since then, almost for more than 35 years, I am practicing orthopedic surgeon, and I have enjoyed every day. I have worked mostly in medical colleges, different medical colleges, starting from JNMC Bangalore, that is Mahe Academy, to DMHER, Savangi Varga. And over all these 3 decades, the roles which I could play included a whole spectrum of what a profession would desire to be, starting from being a professor of a medical college, to be a clinician with some expertise, leading on academic front as a dean of Jain Medical College, and chief executive officer for the almost 2,000 bedded mega group of hospitals, and now being chief scientific officer for the whole university, and also the mentor of international cell in this in the world. And to be very frank, over the 35 years, I realized one thing. If you want to appear young, you may not be. You need to be amongst the youngs.
Sir, I very vividly remember for the first time when I came to this room, the blinding aura of all the lights getting reflected from the models and yourself. It was an awestruck moment for me, definitely. It was very motivating, the energy coming from the room. And since then, I've always wondered about the all the medals and everything. So, can we take this opportunity to have a room tour with you?
Yeah, surely. Definitely the room reflects the aura a little bit. As I said, it's all about the good acknowledgement which you have received every time. What you see over here, that this gentleman is my role model. And this statement is my role model statement. बोलते हैं ना बेडरूम स्टेटमेंट क्या होता है आपका तो मेरा ऑफिस रूम स्टेटमेंट है यार इफ यू ड्रीम एंड गिव विथ ओपन आइज definitely someday you will achieve those things, right? So I started my career here from Pastoral Medical College, Bangalore, my academic career. Before that, I was in Gwalior as a regional cancer center way back in 1996 or something like that. I spent more than a year over there, and it redefined my purpose of being orthopedic surgeon. To be very frank, before that, I was very much interested in going to practices. But once I landed up in that space, I realized it's your purpose of being a doctor is not only to just treat the patients, it is much beyond that, those things. And from that point to this point, right, that is DMHER, our own university, this is our own university momentum. And it had been a long journey. It's almost like I have spent now 3 decades, as I said, over these places. This was awarded to me when I gave an audition in Madhya Pradesh Ayukon 2016. The audition was based on the research work which I have done over here. And then we have few more which I think have been very interesting, particularly this Nagpur Health Leadership Award, because this is to acknowledge what we have done as in orthopedics for limb reconstruction and the family connections. For almost 10 decades, when ABJ Kalam was our president, in that time we launched a very interesting program for children in India. I think so we did screened around 50,000 plus children, and out of which we operated more than 5,000 children.
Wow.
This certificate was like recently given to me, and I don't know why they gave it to me. It was an interesting thing. They thought our hospital have done, rather, they have thought that the hospital has done very, very nicely in Wardha district during COVID times, and no doubt about it. Our residents, our graduates, even interns and final year students, they put in a lot of efforts without any fear. Because it is not only consultant driven. I being a CEO, of course, got the tip of not iceberg, or I should say like icing on the cake.
Yes.
But the whole cake was formed. For the same reasons, I am so much embarrassed about this award, superhero. It was given to me. It should have been given to the hospital, super hospital.
Yes.
This is again for COVID.
So, sir, we kind of tried to categorize few of the awards since there are so many. So, my team wanted to ask, what is the award that you never expected?
Yeah, I think so. Like one of those awards which I never expected is this one, Lots of Planet. So like it's for social work. So us being a professional involved in medical sciences, I never realized that we are making a social difference also. And so before we end this segment, we wanted to know which is the award that you currently are very ambitious about. I don't think so. I'm ambitious about anything now. After spending almost 4 decades, I just want to keep on moving and working. So in the room tour, we saw most of your medals were talked about, your researchers. And as an aspiring researcher, I was wondering if you can ponder a little more about the research that you are interested in doing. It is platelet-rich plasma. So almost like 12, 13 years back, he introduced me to it, and he himself was a PhD candidate under me who wanted to take a PhD on researching into PRP for bone healing. Unfortunately, he couldn't continue. He left, Dr. Rajesh Tulani, and he is now head of department at Rajasthan Medical College. But then I continue. Another colleague of us, Professor Pradeep Singh, who is now in Hiranandani Hospital, Mumbai, very accomplished science surgeon. Then he took that research forward, but in a slightly different mode and manner, by looking into the role of developing PRP for tendinopathies, supraspinatus tendinopathies, and he did his PhD there. So with both of these colleagues and myself also looking into PRP as a solution to some common problems. At that time, I was doing a lot of spines. Yes. And not many of them came in a neglected stage when they had a bad source. Yes. And paraplegia, complete paraplegia. So we were looking at how do we deal with this. I used to do a lot of flaps and all those things, but eventually, most of the times it was unpredictable results. So I took PRP for wound healing. And over last 1 decade, we have been gradually developing through testing PRP into the animal models, in the rabbits, wounds, tendons, and then human trials. We have now done almost human trial of more than 500 cases, and building it from a solution where it was just an add-on therapy to a complete solution where now we are doing just using it as a monotherapy. Yes, sir. So just give PRP and then we can heal the wounds. Not only heal the wounds, but the major breakthrough is I can sort of help it to reverse the gangrenes. Yes, sir. So necrotic tissue, what looks like a necrotic tissue grossly, is actually not still the dead part. Yes. You infuse some life and it will. Yes. So with that philosophy, I am very keenly looking into the possibility of reversing the gangrene, trying to research it. And during this whole thing, I have published many publications and also one book. This is one book which I published in 2018. So that is like all about PRP. So it's available on Amazon, and fortunately, it is a popular book also. And very recently, you all also participated in our international conference. Yes, sir. And I'm happy that now I'm getting a lead role as a national president of Indian Stem Cell Society Group. And I have got almost 16 copyrights, 3 patents now, and many more ideas which I want to get into the field. My aim is that every primary care center can have a PRP center and they can do this intervention so that every patient gets a benefit out of it. Not just a tertiary care center, which will be very few. The adoption of technology is going to change the way I am trained and the way you all will be trained. So with artificial intelligence, with robotic surgeries, it will be a different world for you. My whole family is US based, and I was under a lot of peer pressure after death of my mother when I was like a newcomer to this place to move to US. But then what I found is You said tier 3 city, it is not even a city, it's just a village. It's a rural hospital. But you know what? That is what the opportunity is. And that is what the challenges is. Difference is not in the way I do it. Difference is in the my population to which I do it. So the population which comes over here is slightly underprivileged, with low resources. For that matter, also low socioeconomic resources.
Yes.
So even if I can crack an infection with maybe a highest antibiotics, so easy to do give. But to control that infection with ampicillin gentamicin, which I still use, is a challenge. 90% of time, I have never advised them to sell any of their belongings and try to find out a way in which it can be done within their limits. It may be asking for fundings from government, insurances, making a plea to Prime Minister Fund, making a plea to Chief Minister Funds, even making a plea to our own poor patient funds and asking them to waive off the bills. And I'm so happy that the management over here has been very kind, very benevolent. Shri Dattaji Mege and his son Sagarji Mege are very benevolent persons. You go with any request to them, particularly for poor patients, and believe me, it is always fulfilled. My advice to all the youngsters who are getting trained over here and or in such environments anywhere, that try to study these cultures and find out good part of it and adopt those good parts in your life. So I don't know how many of you know it or not, that we are working closely with top Ivy League universities like Mayo Clinic. If I can reshape the curriculums with their help, probably it will be more meaningful, even if it is not visible.
Yes.
As I said, we have been able to build a very huge campus with almost now more than 5,000 regular students, a band strength of more than 2,000 beds, and departments which are more than 52 in medical field.
Yes, sir.
It's like a lot of opportunity.
How did you end up choosing orthopedics and why?
I entered choosing orthopedics because of the reason that at my time, way back in 1990, there was no PPD. So we only had one chance to choose our subject. And at that time also the orthopedics was one of the most strict branch. And I always wanted to be, after third year, I decided I would like to pursue my career as a surgeon. My first choice was orthopedics, second was general surgery, and third was ophthalmology. So when I walked into the counseling room, the orthopedics seat was available. There was only one seat amongst 150 students. So I got it. It is like both. I have worked hard for it. What the other part is, how would you like to choose a sort of a draw a satisfaction out of your services? Because yes, the service which you give after being in particular specialty does matter. So if you don't have aptitude to be giving a professional life which involves 24/7, I would suggest don't take a branch like gynecology, orthopedics, general surgery, and medicine. Unless until you have drawn a purpose out of your life, everything is like
So, what is the most hardest part of your job that you feel?
as a surgeon.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think the hardest part of surgery comes not in the OT room. The first point of hardest part is when you decide to do a surgery. That is it appropriate or not? And second is to convince the patient about the way you will treat him with surgery. Because at that particular point, you need to convince him so much so that he's sort of submitting his whole life to you. And of course, in the OT rooms, when things start going wrong, I think so a lot of things have to be taken care of in a way that it instantly happens. You cannot see, suppose I am operating in the potty does not work. I cannot wait for a bio engineer to come and repair the potty. I should go to outages. As we say in our surgical surgeonship group, that who is the best surgeon? Not the ones who do not make complications or do not, this complication does not happen to them. They are the ones who know how to deal with the complications.
So, we wanted to know what's the most funniest thing any patient has said to you by
Yeah, there's a lot of things we had you telling me. Typical anesthesia which was given was ketamine. When the patient used to come out of ketamine, they used to say something which was in their, ketamine is a drug which is said to be for used for police investigations, confessions, right? So they used to automatically start talking to us. So like there was one girl and the one first word she said, first word sentence she said when she came out was, "I love you, Sandeep."
How young were you?
Definitely, like me. Thank God my HOD was not around.
Sir, what's the longest time in OT that you served?
I think the longest time in OT I had been is like around 72 hours. So there were like there was a during my residency there was a train accident and almost like maybe scores of patients have come and we operated during that time in 50 major surgeries in 3 days. We had everything inside the routine. Your meals, our sleep. I mean, like there's no sleep, of course, but that is the way a surgeon is trained to deal with.
So, with that, would you like to address to our audience what exactly is orthopedic surgery or a surgeon's world?
I think so. Like lot many people think that being a surgeon means slightly different. I don't think so. It's like just a way of living. You need to put a priority to lives, others' lives before our lives. As a surgeon, yes, of course, you are dealing with some high intense situations where your one wrongdoing may mean morbidities to the patients. It's a very intense job, but that intensity of job brings a lot of pleasure. It's slightly different. You may be needed to stand for hours together. As I said, you working mostly with heterogeneous team. You need to put your other priorities like yourself and your family priorities on back burners.
So we just witnessed one surgery that you did. A lot of hammering and heavy tools were involved. So is it very straining physically for you?
Not anymore because we have got used to it now. And despite like when I took my orthopedics, a lot of persons are saying like you are not fit for being an orthopedic surgeon. You're a small stature and you're lightweighted. I don't think I have found any time any difficulty in performing any surgery because of my physical abilities. It had been a pleasure being this, and with a lot of machinery coming in now, those hammering, those things are at a different level what it was previously around 4 5 decades back. Three things I have a message for you all. You are going to become a good doctors. Don't be afraid of getting engaged in intensity of work. Three things you should know. They are very precious for your engagements, and because they are very precious, so are priorities also. One is time. So have whatever plan you may do, have 20% of your time reserved for yourself every day, right? So don't get too much intense on the things. 20% is your time. Your means only your personal time, huh? Money. Second is money. How much you should spend money? See, these are spendings: time, money, and energy, right? So first is time. So keep 20% to you. Second is money. So keep 20% for you. So save 20%. It does not matter. You may earn crores. You may earn thousands. You get rich only by saving. So if you have 1,000 rupees, if you spend 1,001, you will never be rich. You will always be in debt. But if you spend 999, you will get richer by 1 rupee. So 20% you save for yourself, and that should be well spent. Similarly, energy. So don't get exhausted, exhaust full energy in the work. Reserve 20% for energy for yourself. And if you keep this reservation of 20% for yourself, you will never get bored out of any intensity of work, any work which is coming to you, because you know you have something for you. So just prioritize like that, and you will never be like too much busy. Because you asked me, so I am saying I wake up between 5 quarter to 6 to 6:50. And I intend to wake up at 6, and that 5 minutes over 6 is like the most pleasurable part of me.
So you wanted to know what was the most struggle of your life?
There was a period in my life way back in 1992, 2000, when I lost my father when I was in first final year, just before exams. So I think so, yes, I lost one of my biggest support. And after that, it was a little bit of struggle as whole of the family, all my sisters and myself were studying at that time. And my mother was just a homemaker. But then he just got pulled us off. And now, as I talk to you, all five of us are doctor. My four sisters are settling in US and doing so well.
So how did you overcome this huge setback?
I think so. It was just by grit of my mother's that she just insisted that we should pursue our dream. You know, once when I lost my father, he was a director of health services. So I was offered by government of MP to take a job, but I didn't have a graduation. So there was an offer that okay, you can take some class three jobs as per my qualifications. And then my mother just put it down. She said, forget about it. What are you saying? You just become what you want to. You're still already studying in Mandir school. So need not worry about any of those things. We'll manage somehow. So I think so like it was just a grit of my mother that we could all get along toward that.
So would you like to share our viewers
little more about the lowest phase of your life. If it was.
But of what had happened was, I remember that I was studying in Gwalior Medical College at the time, and I was just having my dinner. And then I got a news, my family used to stay at Bhopal. So I got a news from Messenger. At that time, there were no mobiles, etc. I got a news from Messenger that I needed to go back urgently tonight itself. So whatever it was, I was knowing a little bit that my father is not keeping well. I thought probably he needs some medical attention. So I went to Bhopal that night, and in the morning itself, when I reached there, I realized that the call was for like he's seriously ill and he has suffered from a stroke. We shifted him to Indore with the Chaitra Hospital was there, and despite best of the things, I lost him within a month, within 15 days. And the worst part was that I lost him and I was holding his pulse and I could feel it going on off. So drop by drop, this sort of from 72 to 68 to 59, and then there is no more. I think so. That was my closest experience with the death. Though as a doctor, I have seen it lot many times, the revivals and all those things. But nobody believes it when it happens with yourself. Uh, I think that was the lowest you can say in the form of morale, but the support which our mother provided to us to the whole decade till my youngest sister became doctor.
So you're the oldest one?
No, I am not the oldest one. I'm second in the line. I have four sisters, and we all did graduation from the same medical school, including my father also from the same medical school, and including my grandfather also did from the same medical school. He was the dean of that first dean of that school.
So as a kid, while growing up, who inspired you the most?
As a kid, I think so. Every kid's role model are their parents, and for me also, it was my father. My father, though he was a medical doctor, but he had a lot of interest in astrophysics. So he used to has lot of ideas which he used to work on, including he wrote and challenged the theory of relativity by Einstein, and that was published.
Okay.
Right? And so he used to communicate with those level of scientists. My father had a letter from Stephen Hawking.
Wow.
I still preserved it. It was just a reply to the things which he had sent him. So he used to talk about a lot of things like as a rule, like what we are, and it's just an earth is not just an earth. It's
Yes.
different. So at that age, we grew knowing what is galaxies, what is nebulas, and what are the probabilities of life around us, and what happens this asteroid gets into us, and all those stuff.
So is there one memory which you remember as a child when your parents or your dad scolded you the most about?
So many times, I think so. No, no, no. My dad never scolded me.
Wow.
He used to play with us and used to play cricket on the rooftops also, grounds also, lot of things. But yes, my mother was a very strict mother, and she meant every time we did something wrong, and it used to come up like this. I might have got beaten a number of times by her.
What is your one thing in your bucket list that you still have not done?
Yeah, that's a good one, huh? Because I do a lot of off-track activities. So I have done a lot of adventure activities. I've done deep ocean walking. I have done parasailing. I have done bungee jumping. And recently I went to base of Everest camp. And that the one thing I still want to do is parachute jump.
Sir, if you had one superpower for a day,
Mhm.
who would you choose to become and why?
Like if I have to choose one superpower,
Yes, sir.
I think so. Like I would like to get that power in which I can do mind readings of the person. So I can read what they are wanting to say actually,
Wow.
not what they are saying.
Saying. So there's actually one X-Men called as Dr. Charles. Like he's a professor. I don't know if you know. So he actually has the superpower which you were mentioning.
Then that he goes into my wish list to meet him.
And he's a professor as well. So what is your favorite way to unwind and relax outside of work?
I think so. My favorite ways of unwinding are three. One is like listening to the music,
Mm-hmm.
just local Bollywood music. And second is like reading.
Yes, sir.
Particularly when I'm stressed and I have absolutely mind is boggled, confused, I go to books and read anything which I can lay my hands on.
So, what genre of books?
Uh, I think so. Like a lot of things I read. Particularly initially when I was young, I used to read Robin Cooks and all those stuff. But now I have moved to non-fictions, and Homo sapiens is my favorite book.
So, by Dr.
Yes. And then a lot of readings from Chetan Bhagat because I was reading Chetan Bhagat, enjoying him. And then of course Atul Gawande. Once I am like into it. And recent books which I have found very interesting, are like Timothy Ferris, converting 40 hours work into 4 hours work.
Oh,
It's all about productivity.
yes, sir.
And now I am reading. Current read is my 8 Rules of Love from Jay Shetty.
What's the most memorable vacation for you, and with whom and why was it?
So I think so. My most memorable vacations had been with my family.
Yes, sir.
When we had been going along, we had been going to many places, but one of the good places was UK. I found UK more relaxing than US always.
Okay.
And going with my young son and daughter and having fun, moving around for just on the roads. I mean, that was a real fun. It was way back maybe around 10-15 years when PL and Prakhar were very young.
Yes, sir.
And then another vacation which I had again in the UK, and one of the most memorable one was when we took break to see the World Cup in 2018.
Oh,
So I witnessed both the semi-finals and the final, where two matches were tied up,
yes, sir. I remember that one.
and we were there on the field to see those matches.
Sir, we actually have a very interesting question for the same. We want you to rank the following cricketers in order of best to worst. So the six cricketers are Sachin, Dhoni, Virat Kohli, Chris Gayle, Shane Warne, and Ricky Ponting.
For me, it will be Dhoni first,
Okay.
Sachin second, Ricky Ponting third,
Yes, sir.
Shane Warne fourth,
Yes, sir.
Virat Kohli fifth, and last would be Chris Gayle. And why? It's like because of the recklessness with which they play. See, the more responsible cricketers and more adventurous is the Dhoni.
Yes, sir.
And same is true with Sachin also. So he's very responsible cricketer. And maybe Ricky Ponting also. And last one is like he's slightly more reckless.
But sir, when he plays so well. So.
Yeah, of course, they all are my favorites.
Yes, sir. So if you could be a car, which car would you be?
Okay. If I would be a car, I would be Ferrari. Fast and Furious.
And right now we're talking about stability. Okay, sir. Sir, when you were a kid, what was the topmost bucket list for you to do out of medicine?
I don't think so I had any bucket list when I was a kid. Because I was looking for just lazy around, I just said. So the topmost bucket list at that time was how not to go to school. That's it. And you know, when I was small, I used to throw such a huge tantrums for not going to school.
Right now, if you can travel anywhere in the world,
Mhm.
where would it be? And somehow it is off the top.
Right now, if you give me a choice, I would lazy around in Sydney in front of a ocean or around a mountain.
Why is it music?
I don't know. With seashore, like I find them so relaxing. So this is again on my bucket list. Probably because I had been living around the
Yes, sir.
lands. So I always find seas very, very fascinating, and I want to spend at least 3 months continuously on the sea.
If you can design your dream car, what features or elements would you include?
So like I always find that the mobility of the car based on the design of wheels is limited. So instead of wheels as they are designed right now,
Yes, sir.
I wish they could be like spheres. So you can roll them anyway. Right?
Like a backward?
Yeah, sideways, frontways, backward, so easily. You don't need a huge spaces, then it will move so easily. Not only this, I would design those spheres to generate their own energy. So these cars, then they can generate their own energy on those wheels.
So that brings us. You told us that you didn't want it. You were not a huge fan of going to school. Were you the similar when you were in your college days?
Not at all. I think so. Like I had reversed when I was in my late schoolings. So I had a fun time. I have schooled at during my 11 years of schooling. I have done schooling from almost 12 schools. That was because of my father's transferable job. And right from those schools where I used to sit on that patti,
Yes.
there were no desk there. So government schools to those schools where like Campion schools, which were one of the most advanced school at that time in this whole state, it had been fun. So my 9th, 10th, 11th was a lot of fun. So all my this tantrums were limited to primary till primary schools. My mother used to joke upon me. So what changed me? So she used to say what changed me. So one day we were having lunch, full of the family in the summers, and there was a fan, pedestal fan,
Yes.
which was throwing the air in the summers. And somehow like I was not getting the air.
Yes.
So I went to that fan and turned it towards myself, and there was a huge electrical shock.
Okay.
And I got stuck to the fan, like typically. And then somebody pulled the things, and I got like. So she used to say that shock has changed you.
Sir, back when you told that after 10th you were very successful towards education. So was there a need or the hype when we called it back then? Was it similar? How was your experience and how did you prepare?
So at our time, there was an entrance exam which we used to call as a PMT, pre-medical test. And then, yes, of course, we studied hard for getting a success to write. But then I was never put under any pressure to do anything special for my examination preparation. So you were surprised that I attempted PMT from one of the districts which is like most notorious in AP, that is Bill. Have you heard of it?
No, sir.
In Morena. So it is famous for dacoits,
Okay.
right? So I was studying in that college.
Yes, sir.
And there was a BSc Part 1 at that time. So I used to study in that BSc Part 1. And one day there was like, I went to the college and there was a call that today college will not be held.
Yes, sir.
So I went and said, why it is not being held? So they said, at that time Chief Minister was Arjun Singh. He is coming to the college. I said, why? He said, because there is a organization, a function. Which function? They said, the Fulan Devi is surrendering today on the college rooftop.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So it was like that bad college.
So, sir, you did BSc.
I did only BSc Part 1 because at our time it was 11th and plus 1 was 12th was BSc Part.
Oh, interesting.
So I got selected in the first attempt, and I don't know how I got selected because I was perhaps the last 10. Those seats were very restricted at the time. We had only 420 seats in the whole of MP.
Okay.
So probably I was ranked 409th or something like that.
Sir, now you have seen these days NEET exam. Do you feel it has been easier or it has?
No, I don't think so. It's getting easier anymore. The vastness of syllabus has increased manifold.
Yes, sir.
And you people are facing, I think so, a more challenging situation than what we did. So the syllabus have almost increased to, I would say, twofold or threefold. And that is what the challenge for you as the students are. The curriculum is vast now. And unfortunately, there's an instability in deciding how this curriculum will be pursued. I would not be very so sure of my cracking exams if I have to take it again, even passing my MBBS.
Sir, in your college days, can you share one of your memories with your peers?
So when we were juniors, year one, first year, I mean, I never had to pay for anything. My senior used to take care of everything. Every cinema ticket was bought by me. We were hostel, we were living in the hostel. And I think so I did the same for my juniors. And then when I became trainee, resident, then lot many of my seniors offered to come to UK to pursue my MCH and live in their houses. Though for my family reasons, I never went, But that was a relationship. Without hesitation, they used to invite us. And similarly, now also I have no hesitation when my junior approaches me for any work. So that was a relationship which got built because we got intensely involved with each other's emotions.
Yes, sir.
May it be anger, may it be like slightly violent physical, and may it be exams when we used to give a lot of emotional support to each other.
Yes, sir.
The exams in the hostel are different in the examination, are far different from the examination which takes place in the uh, examination room. So I should not be telling you this, but then there are a lot of persons who are engaged in making small chits. So that was an art. So how to cheat was an art at that time, huh? And we were surprised the way they used to do it.
So during your MBBS life, were you a backbencher or a?
No, I was like a mix of it. I had friends who were majorly backbenchers, but few of them who enjoyed being amongst all, and I was one of them. So if you really want to know where I was, so like we were a bunch of guys who were boycotted from common activities,
Okay,
but then we were invited for certain activities.
that's
So like
interesting.
when the class picnic used to happen, so many of the girls would say, "Don't take these guys." So if they are going, we will not go.
That's very interesting.
But then when cultural programs and sports were happening, we are the first ones to reach the grounds.
Wow.
And we had a lot of time. Gwalior Medical College at that time was also famous for hockey playing. And as my professor used to say, the guys over here do not play hockey on the ground; they play on the heads. So we were a lot of time we were engaged in very severe fights,
Okay.
and they got suspended many a times for that.
So you got suspended as well?
Because not me as an individual, but yes, as a group, 2 3 times, because the two hostels fought very badly with each other, including firing, etc. And then both of the hostels, all the inmates were suspended for some time.
Sir, which is the strangest food combination you have ever tried and it surprisingly tasted well?
I remember distinctly that when we were used to live in the hostels, there was a shop where he used to sell very different type of combination. It was like chole and bhurji, anda bhurji, and that tasted so well that is stuck to my tongue. That
Really?
taste, and I would say that one day you all come for that particular dish to me. My wife prepares very good chole and prepare very good bhurji.
If you had dinner party and you had to choose three people, they could be living or dead, who would those three people be and why? I think so. As far as it's like a wish, if I could invite three people, it would be me, my wife, my father, and my mother. We have never ate together, so we all lived in different timelines. So it'd be wonderful for me to have that family get together. So I'm very fond of reading, as I said, and I have a lot of books which I have went through different timings, different periods. So one of my most favorite book was during my medical when I was a student is there. Sebastian surgical textbook. This is very good. So Sapiens. Yes. And I've got whole of Chetan Bhagat, and it's like signed by Chetan Bhagat. Being Mortal is one of my most favorite books. So Atul Gawande had visited us one, but he is one of the most fantastic. This is also my favorite book, Death by Sadhguru. Where you met somebody. Oh. So I have full course on Art of Dying, and I have taken it for a lot of many people. Currently, I am reading these two books. I think so. I will finish this. This is you should all read this book. It's a fantastic one. It's all about productivity, and this is the current read which is going on. And I think so. Like that's my favorite bookmark. I had a collection of almost 156 reader digest of the era of 1950s. And for whatever reasons, I gave it to one library, and they just like after some time I went there and they just like it had vanished. Oh, what is the funniest question a student has asked you during lecture? Not exactly funniest question, but I can tell you the funniest answer they have given to me when I was taking Viva. Okay. So I asked him in the Viva, we take table Viva for instruments. Yes, sir. So I asked him, what is this? He said, it's an instrument, right? So we are allowed to ask mostly 3 questions because it's just 5 marks. Yes, sir. So if they answer everything correct, I need to give them 5 marks. What is this? This is
instrument, and he was right. I asked, okay, good. Where it is used? He said in orthopedic surgery. Absolutely correct. Huh? And then last question was slightly tough. I asked who uses it. He said, "Sir, you use it."
So that brings me to the next question. What is the most unexpected thing at your house?
Unexpected thing.
Yes, sir.
I think so. Like I have inventory of weapons.
You do?
I mean, I don't know if you will expect that from me. I do have inventory of weapons.
Sir, what was your what's your weirdest nickname and who gave it to you?
In my earlier days, when I joined my MBBS, I was like a heavyweight.
Okay.
So they used to call me GMB.
GM.
And GMB used to, my batchmates, and GMB was like Golu Molu Bolu.
Sir, if you had a theme song played every time you entered a room, which that song would be?
मैं हूं ना,
Very interesting.
किसका है तुमसे इंतजार?
Sir, if you had to swap your bodies with someone, who would it be and why?
I don't think so. I need to swap my bodies. Maybe after a certain time, I may go for a total body transplant.
Maybe with the regenerative medicine we can. Sir, if you could be a character in a movie, which genre would it be and why? And which character?
I've never imagined myself going into the movies. So like, but yes, I can say I have loved Jab Tak Hai Jaan, Shah Rukh Khan.
Sir, if you had to rank the actors from your favorite or according to you the best, how would you? Shah Rukh Khan, Amitabh Bachchan, Salman Khan, Amir Khan, and Rishi Kapoor. How would you and why?
Okay, first of all, I should thank you. You have not asked me to rank heroines. Right? For heroes, I think so. I would put Rishi Kapoor as my first personal choice. I have never seen better entertainer than him. Then Amitabh Bachchan. Then one actor which I am so fond of is Shashi Kapoor. And Arvind Swamy and Kamal Hassan. And then you may rank both the Khans as you will.
We thought you were a huge Shah Rukh Khan fan. So
I am for that particular movie, but not as a whole.
Okay. Sir, as a child, were you a huge fan of comics?
Yes, of course.
So was it a Batman versus Superman?
No. You need to go a little bit back. Batman, Superman came later. So
Okay.
we were all no. Phantom, Archie's, Tintin.
Okay. So if not a doctor, what would you be?
If not a doctor, I would have been a creative designer.
During your education, any part of the education, did you had troubles with anxiety? And if so, how did you overcome that?
Always. So like I was a slow learner, as he said, in my initial period schooling times, I think so my lowest score was in 5th grade when I just managed to pass with supplementaries. There are the anxious points. I mean, like, yes, of course, you are anxious when you're going to give exams. You are anxious when somebody is going to ask you questions. But then you need to calm yourself, rely on whatever you have learned, and I'm sure you will come out with flying colors. So there's nothing like anxiousness. Anxiousness is only when you are unprepared. So if you prepared yourself well, there is no anxiousness. Rather, it's like inquisitiveness, what this examiner is going to ask. So prepare yourself well. Only ill-prepared persons are very anxious, right? So the mantra to life, living good life is prepare yourself for plan A, and if something goes wrong, always have plan B.
So, sir, coming to the last question, if you had to quote, or if one quote that you would want our viewers to know, what quote would you tell?
I guess that is the quote which is my father's favorite quote. It goes on my emails also. That please remember, no study is a waste. So every study is meaningful. Every study.
I think with this way.
So thank you so much, the whole photography club. It had been a pleasant experience interacting with you, and all the best to all the students from my side. And believe me, it may be difficult, but nothing is impossible. Best of luck to you all.